most people don't drive 300 miles every day, so not an issue. You just plug in at night and you're charged up, ready to go in the morning.
So on a fully charged battery, how many miles can you go?
300, and it depends. If you're going to drive highway, it's usually less than that. If you're just going to drive around town, it's more than that. That's kind of an average number, plus or minus a bit. So, it doesn't, it gets inefficient above like 60 miles an hour. As you hit 70 miles an hour, 80, it gets less efficient.
What's the most efficient miles per hour on the freeway for maximum range?
55.
55?
Yeah, still 55 to 60 in there.
Like braking and stuff helps?
That can. You regenerate some of the electricity whenever you're braking. You don't get everything back, so it's still a bit of a loss, but it helps. Like when you're in the mountains, you go up a hill and then you go down the hill, it gives you 80% of that back. So it likes that, yeah.
That's still pretty efficient, 80%.
Yeah, that's nice.
like climbing 80% of the mountain back later.
It's surprising. And when you run the climate controls, the heater actually uses more electricity than the air conditioner, and it cuts in about 10% into your range.
Is there a two-door still?
No, we don't make that sports car anymore. We finished selling that last year. We only made 2,400 of it, and we put all that technology in this car. Yeah, it was the practice car. Then we have the SUV version of this coming out in mid-2014 on the same platform, but a bigger car. It'll get a few less miles because it's heavier. But it's about the same starting price as this car.
What's the price?
This starts at $50,000 for the 160-mile battery, or for the 300-mile battery, it's $70,000. And there's one in between those as well. So there's a $50,000, $60,000, and $70,000 car. And I recommend at least $5,000 of upgrades on that, and then you have
kind of
a wonderful
upgrades
car.
are available?
The leather seats I like. The fabric seats are very nice too. The air suspension I recommend, and I also like the glass roof.
How many of these are you guys making this year?
We're making 5,000 this year and 20,000 next year.
So is there a waiting list?
Yeah, we have 12,000 people on the wait list, so it's a 9-month wait right now, and it seems to be growing. It's getting longer, so sign up sooner rather than later. Even you can change your mind and you get the $5,000 reservation fee back. It's not a problem.
Is there more on the waiting list for the X or the S?
The S, yeah, big time.
That
was the 12,000 for the S. For the
Right.
X, I think they're only a couple thousand at this point.
Yeah.
And how long does it take to charge the battery?
Yeah, with a dryer outlet in your garage, it charges 30 miles every hour, so about 10 hours, and you have the 300 miles back while you're sleeping. If you've driven 300 miles.
That's if you
Most
drive
people-
300 miles a day.
Most people drive less than 100 a day,
Right.
probably less than 50 a day, but yeah. So it changes it fast.
So what are the available options? Is that steering wheel an option, or
This is a standard steering wheel, but it has the leather upgrade on it. All these leather features are instead of the fabric features. It has the high definition rear view camera instead of standard definition. This has the turn-by-turn navigation that will display here. The standard navigation doesn't have that. This has the 12 speakers instead of 7 speakers. It's just everything has the xenon headlights instead of halogen headlights.
Yeah.
So it's a functional car at the base level, and if you need all the extras, that's fine too. But I recommend the air suspension and the panoramic roof.
Right. And the wheels are
The wheels are an upgrade if you go to the 21-inch wheels instead of the 19-inch wheels. But you actually get more miles out of the smaller wheels. They have less friction. So why not stick with the smaller? Yeah. Unless you like the looks of the bigger. Yeah. And the biggers are thinner tires, and they get scraped. They scrape the
fenders?
the gutters more. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
the curb. Yeah.
Now, what's
So I don't
is
think
there
all the upgrades are really worth it, but some people do.
is there a noticeable amount of glare if the sun is at the perfect location and you're trying to look at the screen and just because I've seen all the videos on YouTube and some of them are hard. Maybe it's just the camera angle for picking up the glare on the screen.
Yeah, if you got the sun coming in just at, I don't know what angle that would have to be. I think it'd be difficult, but maybe if you got things going just right.
Because at least there's a hood covering that screen, and there's not so much a hood covering
this is more
this
open,
one.
but you really have to angle just
Yeah.
right. I'm not sure how you would manage that.
Yeah, I guess I would have to
Angle.
see how that is in person on the road.
Do you guys do test drives?
Yeah. if you join that list of 12,000 reservation holders right now, or if it's the one thing that's really holding you up from joining that list, we have to control it somehow. But we just got a test drive car yesterday in our garage, so
Is this like
that is
the
happening.
only place that you guys do that kind of thing?
No, we also have test drives out of the Fremont plant and out of Menlo Park, and then at our other stores. We have 25 stores around the world right now. We're opening 20 more over the next year.
Are there any stores in Southern California?
Yeah, Newport Beach, Santa Monica, service centers downtown LA, and I think they're opening another. San Diego's opening, so
I like that you can sit in the middle.
me too. I love that. There's no hump anymore.
I sat in a Fisker and there's no room anywhere.
And if the seat goes all the way back in the Fisker, I sat one. There's no one can sit behind.
Yeah.
Because there's no driver.
No, there's all battery
no
packs right here.
transmission. Yeah, it's just a flat floor, and so tons of storage here too. It has little cup holders.
Oh, slice back.
Two USB ports up here. Two charging USB ports back there.
So the fit and finish on this model here is the same as production model,
Yes.
or like just
Yes.
little changes here and there, or
Yes.
the chrome accents and.
Yeah, what did I see? I think the pedals were different in the latest model I saw. They had metal pedals instead of the
okay.
rubber ones, but
Yeah, because the little
Minor
door trims
changes.
right there are kind of plasticky.
yeah.
But I bet the better.
I would have to look at the models out there that they're test driving.
And this rear view mirror, is that auto dimming?
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty thick.
Yes,
It looks
yes.
like it's one of those.
And the key fob, when you sit in the car, it remembers your settings and it moves your seat and it moves all the mirrors and it puts the display back to where it was.
So whoever's
on
holding the
left.
key gets the memories for the thing.
It adjusts for each key.
Do you lose any headroom with the sunroof?
You actually gain a little bit. For
Oh,
some reason, there's
just thinner.
more. Yeah.
And the car's so stiff that you can use a thinner roof.
Yeah. Yeah, it has nice reinforced
Yeah.
upper, designed for roll. No problem. Yeah, you seem to know a lot about it. You've been doing some research.
My background's engineering, but I followed Tesla like ever since its inception.
It's cool. You should work here.
Maybe.
That's what happened to me. I just joined a month ago because
Right.
I got tired about talking electric cars for free.
Yeah.
Why not
Yeah.
join the team? It's fun. And the real bottleneck is getting people to buy them, to adopt
Right.
them, even though we have 12,000 people on the wait list.
I mean, I rode bike near Woodside, and that's where that Fisker fire happened.
Oh, the one in the
Yep.
parking lot? Oh,
Yep.
that's funny.
Yep. They said it was due to a cooling fan, but
Yeah,
we'll swear.
whatever. It doesn't help our image for anyone to have a
Right,
fire.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And these cars, it would be hard to catch this car on fire. I mean, I guess stuff could, but the
Yeah.
battery pack disconnects. And
Right. I know the Roadsters
There's
were
no
not
gasoline.
right. I know the Roadsters didn't have any cooling for the batteries. Does this have like?
They had different thermal management. This
Yeah.
they're actually in a liquid cooling system, propylene glycol antifreeze, and there's a radiator, and so
Yeah.
in an accident, at the most, that's going to drain out.
So that
if
liquid
gets
in the
punctured.
battery gets circulated to the radiators.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it can use, in the winter, if the battery pack's too cold, it can take heat from the motor and use it through the battery pack to warm them up.
Oh, that's ingenious.
Yeah, you got to optimize everything.
Everything's efficient that way too.
It's all about saving electricity. Yeah,
And because this is running some form of Android or Linux,
yeah, it's
You know,
Linux,
you
open source. You can build apps on this if you want. If you want to design an app, we'd
I
love
know.
it.
I know.
Dream something up, yeah.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a Silicon Valley car. There are Google engineers who have worked on this, Apple engineers.
Yeah.
The guy who designed the stores worked for Apple and opened its retail stores, and now joined Tesla.
Cool.
No, it's
Thanks
fun
for
to
your
test
time.
drive. I recommend getting a test drive sooner.
Yeah. Yeah, if I were to get one, it would be the lowest model,
Yeah.
the lowest range model, because I don't see myself driving more than 100 miles a day. And if you go longer range, just fly or rent a car.
Rent a
or,
car.
like,
That's
or
my
even your own
attitude.
other car.
That's exactly my attitude. I would buy the 160-mile range.
But some people have range anxiety, so like, oh, I have to have 300 just in
They have
case.
the money.
Yeah.
Fine, do that, but
But it's heavier
it's a
too.
waste for most people. Yeah, it's a little heavier.
Ah, cool. Thanks for your time.
No problem.
All right.